I've begun rusting my Cauldron, and it's a long process, but it's starting to look pretty good, I think. And I figured I would show you how I did it, because it's a little bit different this time than my rusting technique I used when I aged the lanterns on my columns last year. This being a cast iron Cauldron, I figured it would rust differently than a copper lantern would. So I did some image searching on Google and found some old rusted pots and looked at how they came out. And what I saw was that there was basically a reddish brown color. There was one Chinese pot, ancient one, that really had like no orangey or brownish colors on it. It's basically this kind of hue, and I could probably leave it like this, and it would like be sufficient for what a real pot rusted like. However, I also want to make it so, as you can see, I've done the lower half and the upper half, leaving this band in between. And my theory is that this is a cast iron pot that perhaps is banded with steel or something like that, so it's going to rust a little bit differently. Plus, I'm going to blister all these pieces of oatmeal and stuff like that on it, and give it a really aged appearance. So what I do is I take water and I lightly wet the area that I'm working in. And I'm using a 1/2-inch brush here, but probably a larger one could have been used, but I like the control I get with the 1/2-inch brush. And what I'm doing is just going underneath the ridge here, this rim, because I imagine that rust would start there and then drip down. So that's what I did on the bottom here. I started underneath the banding and then painted down. Now, because it's watered down, the color actually starts to blend into the black. So there's no problem if you come back over it. It might look pretty bright here, but by the time you're done working and it blends into the black that's put down as the base. So I go in vertical strokes only. I mean, I might go in like this to paint to get the original coverage in there, but then I try to draw down the strokes because rust will drip down, not horizontally. Then I'll go in, add some more, and then start pulling it down again, and keep working it over and over again, and go back over areas that I've done before, because again, it being watered down, it blends in. So you're building up layers and layers of this rust color on it. So now what I'll do is I'll go back over it with browns and oranges using an old chip brush that I have, and highlighting some of the heavier rust areas. Okay, having started with the red, now I've begun putting the other rust highlights on here. So, where the hell are we? All the way back here. Okay, I've got a beat up brush, and I've got 3 colors here. I've got this brownish tan color, orange, and It is English chestnut. So the first thing you do is don't put so much on your brush. And probably having a couple of brushes wouldn't be a bad idea. You can even take some off. You really don't want so much. When I do have a lot on the brush, particularly go over the places where the oatmeal is, and stippling over the area. And going up on top too. Once you've got an area covered, try and straighten out your brush a little bit, and then go get orange. And the exact same thing over the oatmeal areas. I'm going to stipple the heavy paint that I've got. And then everywhere else, it's just coming in and then go back and get more. Now once you've gone over this area, you go into the stain. And you don't need a lot on your brush. And it's also a good time to try and straighten out your brush. And then what you do is you come back and you just start going over the areas. And this, you're just pounding the brush in. Now let's say you've gone this far and you've decided that it's actually, the stain is knocked down, say like in here, too much of the gold or the orange. So you just come back in, pick up a little bit of orange, and come back over it. A few more spots I'd like to see a little bit more orange on. And then you just start pounding again, and the residual stain will make it seem less like paint and more like rust. So there it is. So now I've just got to finish up all along here, and then we're done. And up there. The cauldron is completely rusted. I like a lot of the details that came out on it. I think when it dries up a little bit too, it'll look good. So if you like what you see, subscribe to the channel and check out my blog, www.devilseve.blogspot.com, where you'll find a lot more ideas and information on Halloween and haunt-related topics. Thanks for watching.